Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes the Nigerian professor who makes more money welding, Sunday's time schedule, Houthi attacks in the Red Sea are idling car factories and delaying new fashion. Will it get worse? Jalen Murray scores 16 points, hits clutch 3 as Ole Miss pulls away late to beat Texas A&M 71-68. Trump test could prove toughest challenge for Taiwan's next president. The Nigerian professor who makes more money welding, BBC. A Nigerian university professor has been working as a welder in his spare time, surprising colleagues who view welding as a menial job. Kabir Abu Bilal, professor at Ahmadu Bello University, says that he makes more money from welding than he does from teaching. The professor has opened up his own welding workshop and encourages others to be more open-minded about how they make their living. He has 10 apprentices, aged between 12 and 20, and hopes to inspire others to take on similar jobs. Bilal's academic colleagues have also praised his actions. Sunday's time schedule. Associated Press. This article lists the schedule of various sports events happening on January 28. It includes NFL games, NBA games, NHL games, PWHL games, top 25 men's and women's college basketball games, as well as golf and tennis events. Houthi attacks in the Red Sea are idling car factories and delaying new fashion. Will it get worse? Associated Press. The attacks on cargo ships in the Red Sea by Houthi rebels in Yemen are causing further disruption to global supply chains at a time when the world is already grappling with a resurgence of inflation. The attacks are forcing traffic away from the Suez Canal and around the tip of Africa, resulting in delays and rising costs. The longer the war in Gaza continues, the greater the threat to global trade and the more likely goods inflation will surge by up to 2%. This could result in higher interest rates, further weakening economies. The disruption to Red Sea trade could have a significant impact on the maritime shipping industry. While shipping companies have expanded their fleets to cope with shocks to the system, there are concerns that the overcapacity could lead to a sharp increase in costs. Furthermore, if shippers avoid the Suez Canal for a year, it could result in a 1 to 2% increase in goods inflation. Shipping snags in the Red Sea could also slow the distribution of grain to parts of Africa and Asia, posing a risk to global food security. Trump test could prove toughest challenge for Taiwan's next president. South China Morning Post. The possibility of Donald Trump returning to power poses a significant challenge for Taiwan's incoming president, William Lai Ching-te. Trump's confrontational stance towards Beijing during his presidency created a positive relationship with Taiwan's government. However, since losing the 2020 election, Trump has made statements questioning whether the U.S. should aid Taiwan if it were attacked by mainland China, and accused Taiwan of taking away chip business from the U.S. Analysts suggest that Lai will face difficulties in keeping the U.S. on side if Trump is re-elected, given Trump's transactional approach to international relations and his America First and isolationist leanings. Beijing is likely to view Lai as a hardcore separatist, intensifying pressure on Taiwan. Lai will need U.S. support to deal with Beijing, but a second Trump term focused on the America First policy would be detrimental to Taiwan. Observers suggest that Lai should not show excessive support for Trump before the U.S. election, as this may lead to backlash from a Biden administration. However, if Trump does return to office, his appointees to foreign policy and national security positions will likely be China hawks and supportive of Taiwan. Michigan case offers an example of how public trust suffers when police officers lie. The Toronto Star. A black man named Brian Cheney has filed a $10 million wrongful detention lawsuit against a police officer in Keego Harbor, Michigan, after being detained during an early morning walk. Cheney says that the white officer, Richard Lindquist, lied to him during the arrest by claiming that another officer present was a supervisor. However, it was later revealed that the second officer was not a supervisor or even a member of the Keego Harbor Police Department. Lindquist was never disciplined for his actions, and the police chief stated that it is acceptable for officers to lie in the field when they are not under oath. This incident is part of a larger trend of declining trust in the police force in the U.S., as evidenced by a Gallup poll that found that only 43% of respondents have confidence in the police, marking an all-time low. Several recent cases have highlighted the need for police officers to be honest, including instances where officers leaked false information and falsified search warrants. Some states, including New York, Illinois, Colorado, and Oregon, have considered legislation to ban police from lying to suspects during interrogations. Michigan D.C. Jesse Minter, Mount St. Joseph grad, to join Los Angeles Chargers, per report. Yahoo! Michigan Wolverines defensive coordinator Jesse Minter is reportedly joining the Los Angeles Chargers as their new defensive coordinator. Minter spent 2 seasons as the Wolverines' DC under head coach Jim Harbaugh. Prior to his time at Michigan, Minter was the defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt University. He has also worked as a defensive assistant for the Baltimore Ravens and has experience as a defensive coordinator at Georgia State and Indiana State. Minter is the son of former Cincinnati Bearcats head coach Rick Minter. Trio leads Oregon State to 84-71 victory over Arizona State. Associated Press. Oregon State defeated Arizona State with a score of 84-71 in a Pac-12 conference game. Jordan Pope led the Beavers with 19 points, while Tyler Bilodeau scored 18 points. Michael Rattay contributed a double-double with 16 points and 10 rebounds. Jose Perez was the top scorer for Arizona State with 19 points. Oregon State held a 21-7 lead in the first half and maintained control throughout the game. The Beavers improved to 11-9 for the season, while Arizona State dropped to 11-9. USC's Bronny James picks up technical foul after a blocked shot against UCLA. Associated Press. Southern California freshman Bronny James, son of NBA star LeBron James, received a technical foul in his first game against UCLA. James blocked the shot of UCLA's Dylan Andrews and celebrated too much, resulting in the technical foul. Lazar Stefanovic made both free throws for UCLA, giving them a 13-10 lead. This was James' first technical foul in a collegiate game. James has been coming off the bench after starting the past 3 games and is averaging 5.9 points in 11 games. He missed the first 8 games while recovering from cardiac arrest. Missouri hires Corey Batten away from South Alabama to be its defensive coordinator. Associated Press. Missouri has hired Corey Batten as their new defensive coordinator, replacing Blake Baker, who left for LSU. Batten has previous experience in the SEC, having spent 5 years at Ole Mississippi. He has also coached at Florida, Hawaii, and Florida Atlantic. Batten most recently served as the defensive coordinator at South Alabama, where he led one of the top defenses in the nation. Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz praised Batten's championship experience and ability to teach the game. This Australian region is a hit with migrants for its combination of job security and lifestyle. ABC. Census data from 2021 shows that the small rural town of Perenjori in Western Australia has seen an increase in the number of overseas-born residents, with about 43% of the community born overseas compared to 26% in 2011. The town has become a multicultural hub for expats who rely on each other for support and friendship. In contrast, the town of Bruce Rock, located about 240 kilometers east of Perth, has a population that is 76% Australian-born. The data indicates that more people born overseas are choosing to live in regional areas of Western Australia for job opportunities and a better lifestyle. Canadian citizen journalist in Gaza reported missing. The Toronto Star. Canadian citizen Mansour Shoman has gone missing in Gaza. Shoman, who is of Palestinian descent, was working as a journalist and aid worker in the region when he disappeared. It is feared that he may have been detained or killed by the Israeli military while traveling between Khan Yunis and Rafah. Shoman's family fled Gaza City during the war in 2022, but he chose to stay behind and continued documenting the conflict as a citizen journalist. A petition has been created calling for the Israeli government to release him. Oregon Weekly newspaper to relaunch print edition after theft forced it to lay off its entire staff. Associated Press. A U.S. newspaper is set to relaunch its print edition after funds were embezzled by an ex-employee. The weekly Eugene Weekly will appear on newsstands on February 8. The Oregon-based publication, which had to lay off its 10-strong staff in December, has raised about $150,000 since the embezzlement was discovered. The majority of the money was raised via a GoFundMe campaign, while additional financial support came from local businesses and members of the public as far away as Iowa and New York. UNH men's basketball team falls to UAlbany. Yahoo! The University of New Hampshire men's basketball team was hoping to take care of business at home in its 2-game stretch spanning 3 days. The Wildcats rallied for an overtime win over Binghamton on Thursday but weren't as lucky Saturday against the University of Albany. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.